Welcome in, fans. Another episode of the Two Line Pass podcast. I'm Randon. With me, as always, my good buddies Ryan and Dustin. Excited for another episode. The season just 2 weeks away now. And we have 2 preseason games in the book. My excitement level could not be higher. It's going to be incredible. We're going to talk about the preseason, then we're going to talk about our season expectations and predictions. Ryan, Dustin, are you guys ready for today's episode?
I am.
I'm so ready. I was born ready. Ryan and I are both ready at the same time. Firing at the same time.
Always
Shoot from the
ready.
hip.
Well, I'm excited. I subscribed to the SCG Plus. I did it for the 2 free tickets. I told you guys that it was the only reason to do so. It's kind of cool. They have a Roku app. No mobile app yet, but they do have a Roku app, so that was kind of cool. And I was able to watch the away game, a crushing 5-3 victory against the St. Louis Blues. And then, of course, for those of you who were lucky enough to attend, the place was rocking on Monday, the game against the Kings, where we pulled out the 3-2 overtime victory, the first game ever. Ryan, did you get to watch both games?
No, I didn't get to watch the St. Louis game, but I did watch some of the highlights. And then I did watch most of the home game. I think I missed about 3 or 4 minutes of the game. But for the most part, yeah. The home game I really like it we were playing. From what I've seen, the guys seem to be buying into whatever system we're going with. I don't know exactly what they're going with off the dome. It's only been 2 preseason games. But all the new guys seem to be fitting in. Sergachev doing his thing in the back end. It's what I was most excited to see. And Connor Ingram doing exactly what I knew he was going to do, solidifying that blue or the back end. So it's been a good time so far.
He was incredible. And Dustin, you were not able to do the curses of your cable subscriber. You were not able to watch the game. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm still in my preseason form as well, trying to figure out how to watch the games. Like I thought that I would be able to. I looked before. I was like, okay, where's it going to be on TV? And Comcast told me, oh, it's going to be on the NHL network. It's going to be fine. And so the game time rolls around and I flip it over to the NHL network and it's playing some like best of whatever the hell was actually going on. I didn't know what it was because the guide told me it was supposed to be the game, but it was not the game. So I'm going to have to step up my preseason game and figure out how the hell I'm going to watch these games.
It is still the preseason. We could do watch parties on my SEG Plus. The preseason games were both on the radio. 1280 The Zone is carrying it. So
that's cool.
If you want to, 1280 The Zone, listen in for at least, I'm assuming, all the preseason games, certainly all the regular season games.
Does that app you got or the subscription service have multiple or can you log in from multiple devices?
That's something we're going to have to test. I was able to be logged in on my phone and on my Roku, but I wasn't able to watch simultaneously, but I couldn't tell if that was a limitation of my internet or a limitation of the app. But I would assume they will not let us both watch at the same time. But yes, if I'm not watching, you can absolutely watch.
Okay, that's what I was. See, I'm getting real tired of this capitalist greed that Netflix started pushing on everybody with their no password. Shut up. Just let people have things. Like, come on, man. We're all struggling. This is stupid.
It's the subscription model. Money, 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 money. Well, speaking of watching on SEG Plus, Ryan, give us some of your thoughts about the preseason games. You said you're talking about the system. Were there any players that stood out to you? The first game against St. Louis, that was a lot of rookies. Only about 5 of the roster guys in that game. A lot of rookies, a lot of the people who were on PTOs, just on their tryouts. And then, of course, the home game was more of the roster. It was like 90% of roster players. But what were your thoughts? What were your takeaways from the first 2 preseason games?
So from the St. Louis game, I don't remember any of the names. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I just thought we actually looked like we were playing a good system. We were playing a team game, and we seemed to be playing better than the old college team we basically were when we were in Arizona. And then in the game at home, I feel like the boys put on their big boy, but like they played real good. Just, I think, the first time playing in front of the home crowd, preseason or not, you got to give the fans something to be excited about. And I don't think they let us down. Sergachev impressed. I thought he was pretty good. But then Ian Cole, as I love that old man, He is probably my favorite new player that we've signed, or my favorite signee addition. At least he's good. I like Yankel. He's an old man, but he's solid, and he hits everybody. Ryan doing his thing. Spicy Tuna living up to that paycheck. He gave the fans exactly what they wanted. And I think we've been playing real good for 2 games. I know it's preseason. It's nothing special. But I thought we were playing better than, because I'm a pessimist, let's be honest. In my head, I was like, great, it's going to be another, 19 to 20 win season, something like. But in my heart, I wanted to believe, my pessimism. But we played better. We've been playing really good. Like, it's surprising. I don't think the rest of the NHL really expected us. I mean, yeah, we were playing our full NHL roster against an AHL Los Angeles Kings team, but still, I thought the boys were playing really good together, and ignoring who they were playing as a team, they played really well, and that's more important.
It's funny. It's something you try not to overreact to the preseason, but I absolutely am overreacting. I am so hyped. And give us the cup now. Give us the cup now. Undefeated franchise, unbeaten in the regular season in the franchise's history. And it's just so exciting. The young guys they're so fast. The game against St. Louis was so high tempo. Carconi is a sniper. I think he's going to continue his scoring ways. Dylan Gunther, I think, is going to live up to his monster contract. I sure hope so. That has the ability to be something that is brilliant, or something that we regret 2 years into it, right? And so time's going to tell, but the way he played and the fire and the speed he played at, especially the penalty shot. I don't know if you guys saw the highlight. He scored the penalty shot, and it was just beautiful. But and then, of course, in the game at home, the guys were playing great. I do think, obviously, I just said I overreacted to too much in the preseason. I think Clayton Keller probably had his worst game. He had a very, very low effort game until the 20 seconds of overtime, in which, if he plays like that for the whole team, we will never lose, because he was on fire that 20 seconds. But that was the highest effort that I saw out of him. And Connor Ingram playing out of his mind. Even all of the goalies, we had played 4 goalies throughout the first 2 games, and all 4 of them played quite well. And we'll probably only really see Vejmelka and Connor Ingram, but they both played outstanding. Connor Ingram made an incredible save. Vejmelka made a series of saves right before the second or third goal that were just really, really solid when the defense was kind of lacking. Maverick Lamoureux had an okay game, but you could tell that he's young, right? He's going to be very good for us, but maybe another year or 2. We still haven't even seen Simashev. I don't think we're going to see much of him. I think he's going to stay in the KHL. But, man, from the preseason perspective, through 2 games, if you want to overreact, 100% making the playoffs and possibly raising the cup. Justin, did you see any highlights, or do you have any thoughts on the performance through the first 2 games?
So the only clips that I've seen are the game winner by Keller in the second game, the power play goal from Lawson in the second game, and then I also saw the first goal scored in Utah Hockey Club history, which was an own goal on a delayed penalty. So we started off on kind of shaky ground. I'd like to say that what the final score of that game was 5-3. I think technically it was 6-2. Utah scored 6 goals. But yeah, I saw a few of those highlights, but I haven't had a chance to actually dig in and watch it. Like you said, that first one was a lot of guys that we're not going to see a whole lot of during the regular season, so it's not one that I think there's really any value in going back and watching. That was just something that if you had access to watch it, it's like, hey, we're finally seeing Utah Hockey Club hockey on our TVs or wherever you're able to watch it. So it's exciting to actually see it. But that second game against the Kings is probably the only one that you're going to take any value away from rewatching. I just have not had a chance to do that yet. My plan throughout the season is to watch and record the games so that I can watch them and then also go back and rewatch them to break some stuff down for the podcast. But until I figure out what the hell I'm getting, I may just have to go with the SEG Plus subscription myself score a couple of tickets so that I'm able to actually watch the games. But yeah, I like the power play goal setup, and I like you said, Clayton Keller just deciding, yeah, I just want to go home. I don't want to play overtime. I'm just gonna score real quick. Just let us go back to the locker rooms, get out of our sweaters and go home.
Yeah, the few other people, Austin Krause played an incredible game. Matthias Michelli played an incredible game. There was a lot of hype, a lot of high energy. So I hope you get to whatever you do decide. Whether you go with the SCG Plus, the Utah HC Plus, whatever subscription you want to do. I hope it works out for you. But if you can't watch the games every time, guess what you can do? Tune into the podcast because we'll break down everything. We'll give you all the information that you need for all the games that you can't watch. So we've got you covered. And speaking of having you covered, let's talk about what you can reasonably expect after the preseason is over. And once the regular season starts, what do we reasonably expect? We've already talked in previous episodes about whether or not we think we're going to be a playoff team, how the Central Division is going to shake up, how the West overall is going to shake up. We're not going to really talk about the East, but in terms of let's just talk about the team and some of the players from the only way that Americans know how, and that's from good old fashioned sports betting. So we're going to break down a couple of the lines that we've got. Call your local bookie and get some of these lead pipe locks we've got for you. We're going to run through a few of the players and take a look at their individual. A few of them have goal over unders, point over unders, and then we'll make a few prop bets ourselves and then talk about the team overall and where we think they're going to be. So first, let's go player by player. Let's go with, of course, the man himself, Clayton Keller, right? He's the most important player on the team. He has the most points. He has the most games played. He's almost, at least last season, a point per game player. And his goals this year, the over-under, is set 33.5. Ryan, 33.5 goals for Clayton Keller, over or under?
Because I want the fans and the team to know I support them, I want the over. I think adding Sergachev and the rest of the guys are going to step up being in the new. I think everybody's going to take their game to the next level. So I'm taking the over on 33.5.
All right, Ryan's got the over. Half a goal or one goal more than he scored last year, which was exactly 33. Dustin, Clayton Keller, over under 33.5 goals.
Well, like you said, he had 33 last year. I think he'll be better. I think the team's going to be better. They're going to be better offensively, so I think that leads to more goals. So I'll take the over there too.
All right, taking the over. Well, I may have to be the bad guy and maybe take the under only by a smidgen. 31 goals. And I only say that because I just believe that there is a question mark in the top line center. Is who's going to play between Keller and Schmaltz. Obviously, Barrett Hayton's the guy who started and is the most likely candidate and who will absolutely start day one. But I'm just wondering what that looks like in Clayton Keller, especially now that you've got. And now I don't want to get into the psychological, but you do have Dylan Gunther, who just has played less than 1 year, just signs a contract almost identical to Clayton Keller. So does that motivate Clayton Keller to say, hey, I had to kind of play and earn my $7.5 million contract, and you kind of just got it handed to you? Yeah, but he's almost 5 years younger than Clayton Keller, so maybe that motivates him. But I definitely see Clayton Keller scoring more than 30, but I'm going to take the under on 33.5. Now, when you bring his assists in, you've got the points, the over under 81.5. 81.5. Now, he had 76 points last year, only played 78 games, right? So I think what this is suggesting is that Clayton Keller plays all 82. So Ryan, if you had to have $100, you put the over under 81.5 points for Clayton Keller.
$100 on the line. So they're adding what, like a point per game, essentially, is what they're saying on the over-under?
Exactly a point per game. Yep, almost exactly. Last year he had 33 goals, 43 assists. through 76 games.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under on that one. I think his goals are going to go up because of the contract given to Gunther. He's going to be like, all right, you're just going to give money to this kid. Let me show you why let me show you what I do. But yeah, I'm going to take the under on the points.
Dustin, do you agree? Are you going over, under 81.5?
I think I took the over on the goals, but I think the assists might dip just a little bit. So I'll take the under there as well.
Okay, well, maybe I'll just be contrarian. Maybe I have a misread on the situation, but guess what? I think it's going to switch. They are going to find their center, whether it's going to be Logan Cooley or not. And Clayton Keller is going to turn into the best assist man that we've ever seen. Give me 31 goals, 55 assists for Clayton Keller. I'm taking the over, 81.5. Now, speaking of the potential playmaking center that he's got, the next brightest star, you guys may have seen him playing in that first game if you watched it. Logan Cooley, he's going to be the future, him and Dylan Gunther. Well, he's not too far behind in terms of a point per game pace. Now, he did play all 82 games last year, and he was at half a point per game. And so he had 44 points last year and 20 goals. This year, they've got him a little bit of improvement. 24.5 is the over-under for Logan Cooley on goals. Ryan, over-under 24.5 for Logan Cooley.
Give me the under. I'm going to take the under on that one.
No faith in Cooley just bringing the hammer down?
No, it's more because I don't think he knows where he's going to be on the first line, second line. You know what I mean? So like that can kind of fuck with you. I mean, I've never played hockey. I can just tell you from playing my years of NHL 08 on story mode. It really messed with my head when my coach would send me up and down on the second and first line. Like, what do you want from me? What do you want me to do here, bud? I didn't know. So yeah, I think 24 is a stretch, but I think he could easily do 20 again. But I don't know. I feel like 24 might just be giving him a little too much of a push, especially with all the other guys on the team now, like with Sergachev taking over on the power play.
I gotcha. Well, the video games are actually, some people say that that's the best way to become part of the game is to play those video games, and it's just as if you were on the team. So I'm going to take that as expertise granted. Now, Dustin, you're also a video game player yourself. Do you agree with Ryan? Are you taking the under? Logan Cooley, 24.5, over under.
I think just I'm going to take the under just based on I'm not sure where he's going to play. Like, I don't think we've seen like an official like lineup or like who's going to be the first line and the second line and whatnot. But I could see him being like our second line center, and he could play in the wings. I don't know if he's going to be enough of a focus and on the ice as much, and he might bounce around, especially early on in the season as they try to piece together what they're going to be doing, what the game plan is. So I'm going to take the under there.
Logan Cooley, maybe it's a sophomore slump, maybe it's not, but I am going to agree with you guys, and it may get just 24 goals, and it's the 24.5, and that's why these odds makers get paid the big bucks to set these lines that are not necessarily simple, right? Like, this is why odds makers do what they do, is they've analyzed everything, and even if they are not, like, you don't need to have some sort of deep insider knowledge to know what type of water the ice is made out of to give your edge. You just take your conglomerated experience of hockey, and that's where you set the edge of 24.5. I'm also going to take the under. Now, given that he's under on that, his points over under is 54.5. So they think maybe 24, and if you take the line, that's 30 assists. And last year, he only had 24 assists, so just a few more than he had goals. So we all take the under on goals. However, are we taking the over under 54.5? Dustin, I'm going to throw it back to you and reverse this. Over under Logan Cooley total points 54.5.
That's about an 11-point jump from what he did last year. I think he does make a jump, but I think that's a little bit too much of one to expect out of a 19-year-old. So I'm going to take the under.
Taking the under. Ryan, is he too young? What's he got? 54.5.
I don't think that he's too young necessarily. I think it's just him. Like, it does play a factor, definitely, but he does have an NHL season, under his belt. But I think it's going to come down to more figuring out his spot, like knowing his role and where he's supposed to be on the team. You know what I mean? Knowing his job, first or second line responsibilities. And 54, I'm going to go under. I think he's going to hit. I think he's going to hit 20 and 30 again and go 50 points even. Which, if we get 50 points out of him, I'm going to be fucking thrilled. Don't take this in any negativity, folks at home. I know how the internet works. I don't want you guys thinking we're dogging him because we're taking the under. But no, I just, like Dustin was saying, an 11-point jump. It's not unheard of, and I believe Cooley he easily could do it and shock me. But I'm thinking not on his sophomore year. So I'm going to take the under. Lock it in.
Locking in the under. I also, I think 20 and 30 is very reasonable. Even something like 25 and 25, if you do want to take the over on goals. 25 and 30 is, I would think, the way he gets there if he trends the same way. But I'm with you guys. It all depends on who he plays with, right? How do those first two lines shake up? Who's he playing with? And but if he's playing with Austin Krause and say Michelli, I'm trying to think of who else would be on that line off the top of my head, but certainly play with Lawson Krause, and that's going to be good for him. That's going to be good for him because Krause is incredible. Had a great game Monday, but is it
give Cooley 3 years and he's going 30-30, if not or 40-40?
Oh yeah, Logan Cooley's going to be.
Give him a few years. He's going to hit either 30-30, like an average of 30-30, or he's going to have like a stellar year and hit that 30-50 or 40-40.
Oh, absolutely. He's going to be incredible. And speaking of another youngster, the big question mark is, will he live up to his contract as Dylan Guenther? They don't have a goals. They don't have a goals for him, but they do have an over under 55.5. So 1 point more than Logan Cooley and Dylan Guenther's second year. Now, Dylan Guenther did not play the full season last year. He only played 45 games, but he did have the second highest points per game, behind Clayton Keller only, and then Nick Schmaltz just about tied. So the youngster, I'm all in on him. I'm going to get his jersey, but Ryan, over under 55.5 for Dylan Guenther on points.
So after talking to you about this before we started recording the podcast, I think you've swayed me into believing in Dylan, don't take away my Guenthers. And I think I'm on board with 55 points. What did he have? He's got 18 goals in 45 games. So
yes.
give him a full season. That's 36 goals if he plays the same level. Yeah, fuck it. You know what? Give me the over. I think he's going 60, maybe even 65.
Dustin, what do you got for Dylan Guenther? Over under 55.5.
I feel like I'm copying Ryan because I just agree with everything that the man says. He just based on the games that he was playing, he was on pace to at least come close to that number. And I think he'll be better this year. So I'll take the over.
I'm also taking the over. Give me 70 points for breakout star Dylan Guenther. Who's going to play with Logan Cooley. So, but give me Dylan Guenther running away with it, 70 points, maybe leading the team if Clayton Keller got injured, which certainly we do not want to see happen. But if Dylan Guenther leads the team in points,
don't do that.
Yeah, if he leads the team in points, we're not in good shape. I don't think we want him to lead the team in points. That means our first line is really in the doghouse. But another player who had an incredible Monday and who the odds makers are incredibly high on, and that's Matias Michelli, who has his over-under at 56.5. So over both Gunther and Cooley. So for the Finnish Phenom, what do we think? Over under 56.5. Last year he played all 72 games. He had 57 points, dominated by the assists at 40 with 17 goals. So we thinking they're basically putting it right at what he was at 57 points. 56.5. Dustin, over under.
I'll take the under. He barely hit that last year. Like you said, playing all 82 games. I think some points are going to be taken away from other rising stars and from somebody like Dylan Gunther, who's going to be playing, hopefully, and I'm not going to jinx anything, knock on wood, but hopefully more games than he did last year. So I just don't think he's going to reach that same number, but I'll just take slightly under.
Ryan, do you agree?
Nope. I'm going to disagree on that. I think he's going to hit the 40. I think he's going to go 20 and 40, and he's going to hit that 60-point mark because he already had 40 assists, right?
He already had 40, yep. So, and he had 17 goals.
40 assists with 17 goals. Yeah, give me the over on that one.
The only reason not the only reason, but I'm kind of in line to agree with you, Ryan. If you guys go have a chance to go look at the shootout. So if you watch the game on Monday, there was an exhibition shootout that was going to happen regardless of the outcome of the game. This was predetermined by the teams. Well, Michele had one of the most beautiful goals I've seen in recent memory in a shootout or a penalty shot, and it was so beautiful. And he's so fast. I just don't know how much of a playmaking opportunity he's going to get to really showcase those skills. But he's got the playmaking skills and the assists. He may get there. I'm going to take him though just at 56. So I'm going to take the under just under 56. And some of those goals are going to be spread out. And then last one on the player one, our boy Connor Ingram, the star between the pipes. However, the odds makers, at least the odds makers at DraftKings, maybe not understanding some things. He had 23 wins last season. They've got him over under 24.5. Now, Ryan, you led the charge in the Connor Ingram profile episode. What do you think? Over under 24.5 wins for Connor Ingram.
Oh, this is the easiest over I've ever taken in my entire life because we got defensemen finally around him. And if you think adding Mikhail Sergachev and Ian Cole and John Moreno from New Jersey are going to make Connor Ingram's wins go down, get out of here. I don't want whatever you're smoking. It's bad. It's probably PCP. You need to get out of here. It's not good. Yeah, he's going up. I'm going to take it at over, but if he plays 60 games, 27 to 30 wins, I think, are well in range for Connor Ingram. And I have no doubt, especially because he's got a new fan base behind him, cheering him on every step of the way. And he had that one save, the one little bit he's been in, and it was absolutely amazing. See, that's all he had to do to win over the casual fan. You make saves like that, we're in, or they're in. I was in on board the whole time. I bet on Connor. Mm-hmm. And do they have a shootout or a shutouts line? They didn't have one, did they?
No, they don't. But after we do his wins, if you want to give the fans your own line, and Dustin and I will discuss it, we can. Dustin, are you smoking that sweet, sweet reefer? Do you think he's going to be under 24.5 wins, or are you on board with the Ingram train?
So this is one of those lines when I saw what the line was earlier, my initial response was like over, easy. And those types of lines usually scare me because it seems like this is obviously over. Like that's basically right what he was at last year. We believe he's going to be like the guy and play more games than he did last year, and the team around him is going to be better. So logically, he's going to win more games. But it does scare me a little bit because those lines that Vegas puts out that always seem to like jump out at me is like, well, that line is just way wrong. Those are the ones that I always like pounce on, and then I get my rear kicked in. But I'm still taking the over. I don't see any way he doesn't win at least that many games.
Yeah, no, like I said, the odds makers, they're not dumb. They aren't creating these lines to lose money. right? They're into bait action, and that's how they could swing and move. And I do think this is a line that will move up. Well, maybe not though. I guess it depends on how many people are seriously looking at prop bets for a Utah team, where most Utah fans can't necessarily gamble legally within the state. So if we could, it might be different. But I am going to take the over only because I do believe. I think the odds makers are looking at it like, are we going to split the shifts? So last year, Connor had 50 starts and Vizmelka had 38. Like, that's about as split as it gets, in terms of like not having a true number one. And I think we on this podcast all believe that Connor Ingram has earned the undisputed number one, and we would like to see him get 60 starts. I think that would be the basement for us in starts. And if he does, he absolutely gets over 24 and a half, 100%. And Ryan, I think you're right on. I would put it high 20s, low 30s. I think the season, the win total highest was like 38, but your average for your best is probably 31 to 35 for like the top tier goalie. And then you had a few outliers like Georgiev from Colorado, only because, like, not because he was good, it was because Colorado was, Colorado. But I'm going to take the over. And the only thing that will stop it is if for some reason the team doesn't commit to a number one goalie and they backtrack. But Ryan, he and everybody who listens to this podcast knows he led the league in shutouts. And will he do it again? Ryan, why don't you give us a line and let's discuss it?
So my thoughts going into this were, so he's got way more of a team around him now. He got 7 shutouts to lead the league last year, which doesn't sound like a lot, but coming from playing on a Phoenix Coyotes team that, won a total of 31 games, but now like what is that? A little under a quarter of the games, a little under that. Like, that's pretty goddamn good. And now that he has a better team around him in a better facility with a better owner who gives a shit about his team to take care of everything he's going to need, and a team that if they buy in, feel like it can only go up, because and the more games he plays in a season, the better he is. We go look at his stats. We went over this, people. There's a whole episode about it. But so I would set the line at either like 6 or 7, just because, it's hockey goalies and they are the biggest X factor every single year for every single team. Your goalie can either make or break your season. Like, it's easily the most difficult position to nail down. But I would take the line. If it's at 6 or 7, I'm taking the over. I think he's going to get, I think with Sergachev coming in to buckle, and Moreno coming in to buckle down that D with Ian Cole, and them buying in to a system, and like, we have nothing to lose. These guys have nothing to lose. They've been playing for basically at a college level hockey, and now they got to play a preseason NHL game in an NHL arena in front of real fans. So yeah, I would take the over. I think Connor Ingram is only going to get better and better, and I don't know, maybe I'm crazy and I just love goalies and I just believe in them and I believe in Connor, but I would take the over, whatever they set it at, as long as I don't think he'll hit 10. I don't even remember the last time we had a goalie hit 10 shutouts in a season. It's been at least a few years, right?
Like, it's been a minute since it's really, most of the rule changes over the last decade have favored scoring and increasing scoring. So your traditional dominant shutout type, the defenses that allowed it are no longer allowed. The pad sizing and everything has all favored the league wants scoring. The casual fan does not want to see shutouts unless it's their own team. And even then, I think they would rather see a 6-5 win than a 2-0 or a 1-0 win.
And that's crazy to me. I would much rather watch a low-scoring game where it's 2 goalies duking it out to be like, no, I'm better, and then one of them just lets in a squeaker, or you know what I mean? Like, those are the games I like to see. But maybe that's because I'm not a casual. I don't know. It's better than, like, I don't know. You want high scoring? Go watch basketball, man. Go watch football. You want to see a bunch of people just scoring all this? It's not what hockey's about. Like, hockey's about the in-between things. It's a team game. Like, I don't care if it scores 110. Like, when there's blowout NHL games, when it's like 7-1, They're the most boring games in the world to watch. They're so it's crap. I said it. Come after me, fans. I don't care. It's boring.
But then you get
Bring
the
back
fights.
the good old days.
You get the fights and the blowouts. Dustin, let's set the line at 6.5. 6.5 shutouts for Connor Ingram. You taking the over or the under?
I'll take the over. I think he's getting to 7 or 8. I mean, he had what, six last year. He has 7 in his career, and I think he gets to 7 or 8.
I'm going to take the under only because I think that it's so favorable for scorers these days that it's so hard, regardless of how talented you are. It's just so hard for goalies to get shutouts. So hard. I put him many more wins than expected, but I think 4 or 5 shutouts is probably reasonable, and I think I'll be very happy if he gets that. So, but it will depend again on how many starts he has. More starts, the higher that number is going to go, because Connor Ingram, I think we all agree, is that good and has that talent level and can play at that talent level. Now, I guys want to throw one out. We're running out of time, but let's run a few more prop bets. League leaders, talking about league leaders in the listless franchise that was the Arizona Coyotes. We had one crush the leaderboard, and that was Spicy Tuna leading in penalty minutes. So I'm going to set the over-under, guys, for penalty minutes this season for Spicy Tuna at 49.5. He had 153 last year. I'm setting the over-under at 149.5. You taking the over or under, Ryan?
I think I'm going to take the over just because I think he's going to fight every chance he gets on home ice just to give the fans that extra little. And he's tough enough to do it. The man is got a head like a fucking brick. Like, he can just take he's as tough as they make him. So, yeah, I'm going to take the over. Is he going to get any points this year? Not going to really hold my breath for him to break out and have an offensively dominant season or have a great plus-minus. But he's going for 20 fight minimum, maybe even more.
20 fight minimum. That's more fights than points that he had. He had 14 points. More fights than points, maybe. That's a prop bet.
That's what I want out of my enforcers. Bring back goon hockey. I'm tired of these enforcers getting goals and being on highlight reels. What's up with that, Rempe? Sit out and fight.
Dustin, you got more fights than goals. What do you think? 149.5 for Liam O'Brien, Spicy Tuna. What do you think? Over, under 149.5?
You know, I said in one of our earliest episodes that he's on a mission to fight everybody in this league. And that line is right at about where he was last year. I'm going to take a slight under because I don't know if he's going to be on the ice enough to fight as much as he needs to hit that number again. So as much as I would love to see him on the ice, throwing haymakers and pulling sweaters over heads and doing all that, I'm not sure he's going to be on the ice enough to quite hit that same number. So I'll take the under.
Well, I don't know if you can see Dustin's board, but it is empirically true that O'Brien has one fight, and in his game that he had a fight, Utah had one win. So that is 100% win percentage, and I think Tuna knows that. And I'm going to go with the over because of what Ryan said. I think if you've listened to everything that O'Brien has said, and you listen to the way he interacts with the crowd, and even after his fight, pumping up the crowd, like I think he will. That's what he. I think more than being a traditional enforcer for a team protecting his guys, I think O'Brien wants to embrace being a fan favorite and hearing that crowd cheer for him. And I think he's going to do everything in his power, including throw a lot of punches, to get that sort of reaction from the fans. And they're going to love him for it. Our fans are going to love him for it. They are going to go nuts for this guy. They're going to love Spicy Tuna. His luscious red hair, I don't know if you guys saw that. He's got a Viking-like hair, and he's going to be sitting in the penalty box in the locker room a lot because he's going over his 153 too. I'm putting him at 164 for the season. Now, that's my prop bet. Ryan, you had your prop bet. Dustin, are there any prop bets you want to give, or do you want to take some time to think about them?
You know, the only prop bets I was taking a look at like Bovada to see if I could find any fun prop bets, but the only fun ones that I could find don't really involve Utah. It's like who is this player going to hit this century mark for goals or assists, and who is he going to be playing when that happens? I couldn't find any good lines, any good prop lines against Utah Hockey Club players. So I'm going to bow out of that one and say I don't have a line for us this week.
All right, well then let's look at the. I had it written down, but now I got to go back to the phone. So to end the episode, let's talk about the big one. We've talked about individual performances, but let's talk about the team. Right now, Las Vegas has the over/under for points for Utah at 87.5 points. As it stands, if all things were equal in the West, that is not playoffs. You need more than 87.5 to make the playoffs. Over under 87.5 points. Ryan, what do you think? 2 points for a win, 1 point for a tie or overtime loss.
I'm gonna take the over, just because I want to believe in this team. I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna give us 90. I think Sergachev and the additions we made, and if everybody can take that next step, I think easily we can get another 3 points. I think we're easily a 90-win team or a 90-point team.
Well, they are giving us more points, so that was over. We had 77 points last season, so they're thinking at least a 5-win swing. Now we talked a lot about maybe converting some overtime losses into wins, having a defense now with a very high goals for, but also very high goals against. Dustin, what are you thinking? 87.5 over under for the team next year.
Over. The league average was 90 points last year. Utah is going to be a better than average team this year. They're going over that. Over. I believe in this team.
You know what? I believe in this team too, and I think they're going to squeak into the playoffs. Only just, though. But to do that, they absolutely have to get into the 90s to get there. I think right now 93 points is probably our ceiling and probably what we're going to need. Maybe 91 gets us, but certainly over on the 87.5. So if you want to go out there and you got some extra money to spend, please gamble responsibly. But we've given you some of the locks. Heck, why don't you just bet the farm and do a parlay on all of these bad boys? You can turn that $100 into $100,000 with the parlay insight that we've been giving you. Guys, it's going to be fun. More preseason action, and we are just 2 weeks away from puck drop Tuesday, October 8th against Chicago, the home opener for the Utah Hockey Club in their inaugural season. It's going to be great, and the Two Line Pass is going to be there with you every step of the way. Thanks so much, guys. For Ryan, Dustin, I'm Randon. Everybody enjoy your day. Man, my sign-offs suck.
I was going to say, you hit him with it. Enjoy your day.